Hello, everyone, and welcome to understand the astrology and cosmic energy of the week ahead for June 21st to June the 27th. I'm going to share two stories. One is about a child who was abandoned at birth and raised by a god, and the other is a biblical story. So both these stories are worth considering as you watch the week unfold for you and for those you care about. Now, before we get to the stories, let's talk about the summer solstice and the beginning of Cancer season. So the summer solstice is, of course, on June 21st. If you're watching this on Saturday, it's tomorrow, Sunday, June the 21st. And the sun enters Cancer, and people often refer to the summer solstice as a portal, but there's a better word, I think, for it, a stronger word, a more accurate word, and the word is activation. So the summer solstice is a powerful, powerful moment in time. Just the energy of the day is very, very powerful because something is going to shift, something becomes visible, and this year, the solstice arrives carrying a particularly interesting story, and we'll get to it. So let's talk about Cancer. Cancer is often described as the sign of home, family, and emotions, and we are definitely going to touch on this today. But there is a lot more to Cancer. I highly recommend that you subscribe to my Substack because I tend to go into more depth about the signs and astrology, etc., on Substack. Now, while it is true that Cancer is about those things, the home, the family, the emotions, it's also about the past, our memories, our genealogy, right? Our generational inheritances. It's the home, the feeling of home that I want to touch on today, because home is not a place. Home is a feeling. Home is an experience of being welcomed by life. And many of us spend decades searching externally for something we have not yet cultivated internally. And so Cancer season invites us to ask the difficult questions that, invite us to find or cultivate the sense of home internally. So, for example, what does belonging actually feel like in my body? How does it feel to actually belong in my body? What emotional stories have I inherited from my family? What am I still carrying that doesn't belong to me? What am I still calling home that no longer contains who I am becoming? So these are not comfortable questions. They ask us to look honestly at our lives, at the relationships we maintain, at the identities we've outgrown, and most importantly, because this is a very Cancerian thing, at the loyalties we've inherited. Cancer reminds us that not everything we inherit is meant to be carried forever. So some stories, they're not meant to be understood. Some patterns are meant to be broken, and some journeys have to be taken to bring us home. Okay. Now, for example, some people actually have to leave their countries of birth to find a sense of belonging. In Kabbalistic tradition, every month has a Hebrew letter and a spiritual challenge. And this month is called Tammuz. Okay, so Tammuz is associated with the letter Het. If you are listening to me and not watching the video, I encourage you to watch the video because I'll put it up on the screen. Now, the letter Het, sorry, not Het, the letter Het is associated with the sense of sight. Now, sight sounds straightforward until you realize that seeing and perceiving are not the same thing. Two people can look at exactly the same circumstance and come away with entirely different conclusions. Right? So the letter Het teaches us that what appears to be a wall may actually be a doorway. Now take a close look at this letter. I mean, to me, it looks like a doorway, a passageway. But some people may look at this and think, no, it's a wall. Why does this matter? This matters because the great spiritual challenge of Tammuz, this Cancer season, has always been distorted perception. The shadow story of this month is the story of the golden calf, and you're probably familiar with the story of the golden calf. So Moses ascended Mount Sinai to go talk to God and to get the commandments from God, the covenants. And days passed, and then more days passed, and the people became anxious, and then they became frightened because they could no longer see this person that they trusted. They could no longer see Moses. So they turned to Aaron and said to Aaron, well, where's he? What are we going to do? They were afraid. They were afraid. And Aaron didn't know what to do. So he said to them, please, just bring me all your gold, your earrings, your necklaces, all of that. Bring me your gold. And they brought the gold and he melted it down. And what did the people do? They took the gold and they made a golden calf and they worshipped this golden calf. They made offerings to this golden calf. They danced, they partied. Okay. What is this about? When we struggle to, well, not even struggle, when we cannot tolerate uncertainty, what happens is we create something visible to replace what has temporarily disappeared from our sight. Okay. And so all this actually means that fear begins to interpret our reality. Impatience replaces our faith. And so we build our golden calves. Now, I'm sure how many examples can I give you of how many golden calves you and I have built over the years? So this is not merely a historical story. This is a psychological story. How often do we do that same thing where, like when someone doesn't call us back, we assume rejection. When a project slows down, we assume failure. When life becomes uncertain in any way, we immediately start creating explanations that soothe our anxiety rather than reflect the anxiety, rather than reflect the reality. The challenge of Tammuz is not learning how to see. The challenge is learning how to see clearly and not to build our golden calves, not to rely on physical reality for our security, because things are going on behind the scenes. In the spiritual world, things are falling into place. So, the questions, I'm always asking questions. Can you see beyond appearances? Can you see beyond your temporary circumstances? I hope you can. Can you see beyond your inherited fear? You may have to get some counseling, some coaching there to work through your inherited fear. Can you see beyond the story that your mind creates when certainty disappears? And now this brings us, of course, to Chiron. I highly recommend you watch my video on Chiron as well. Chiron is now in Taurus. So because immediately after entering Cancer, the sun forms a harmonious sextile to Chiron, and I will call up the chart when I do your horoscopes. I'm going to do short horoscopes for every sign. This is the story because of this harmonious sextile between the sun and Chiron. This is the story that I want you to watch for this week. It's going to play out. Okay, so Chiron was born to Kronos and the sea nymph Philyra. Now, when Kronos slept with Philyra, he took on the form of a horse. So Chiron was born, half horse, half man. And his mother was ashamed of his appearance and she abandoned him. So Chiron's wound was not just simply rejection. His wound was the experience of being unwanted. And Chiron's story does not end there, though, thankfully. So there's this abandoned baby, half human, half horse, and Apollo, the sun god, took him in. Took pity on this child lying there in the meadows. His mother, by the way, had run off to hide in the trees. And anyway, Apollo took him in, and Apollo taught him medicine, taught him music, taught him healing, taught him prophecy, taught him astrology. And most of us, know Chiron as the wounded healer, but there's, of course, a lot more to Chiron. Apollo did not remove Chiron's wound. He taught him how to relate to it differently. So the wound remained, this wound of, rejection, this feeling of not being wanted. And what changed was consciousness, because Apollo represents illumination. The sun god is illumination, not the light that destroys darkness, but the light that reveals it. The light that allows us to see what was previously hidden. And this is why the symbolism of Tammuz, the month of Cancer, and Chiron fit together so beautifully this week. I mean, this whole thing is just falling into place beautifully. You'll see the chart now. Again, the questions are, can you see differently? Can you see beyond your wounds? Can you see beyond your limitation? Can you see beyond your inherited story? Most of us were never taught to consciously hold our emotion. We were never taught how to react. We were just taught to suppress, to distract, to escape, even more so nowadays. They are desperate to have us distracted. Okay, so over time we begin to believe that our emotions define us. If I feel afraid, then obviously I'm unsafe. That's what they say. If I feel hurt, then I must be broken. But the Zohar, by the way, teaches something radically different. Emotions are energy in motion. Emotions are energy in motion. They are not your identity or not your feelings. Many of our emotional reactions are not actually about the present moment. However you're reacting in the present is usually an echo. It's an echo of an old experience, an echo of your family story, an echo of inherited patterns. The work is not to stop feeling. That's not what we're here to do. We're not yet. We're human beings. We have emotions. We feel things. The work is to learn to sit beside what we are feeling, to sit with it, to feel deeply without becoming overwhelmed by our feelings, to experience emotion without being defined by them, and to recognize that between what we feel and how we respond, there is something sacred there. And in the sky, by the way, is just illustrating all this so beautifully. There's this sacred space between our feelings and how we're choosing to respond. And it is within this pause that our power lives, right? The Zohar teaches that when we react unconsciously, we strengthen chaos. You bring more chaos into your life by reacting without stopping, without the pause, without that space. Because guess what happens? Guess what happens in that pause? The light streams in. When you give yourself a moment to pause between like feeling, reaction, pause, light pours in. And perhaps this is one of Cancer season's greatest teachings, I would think. It's not that we should stop feeling, it's that we can learn to hold what we feel with greater awareness, greater compassion, and greater wisdom, because Emotional maturity is not, again, I'm repeating myself here, it's not the absence of emotion. It is the ability to remain present to what you feel without abandoning yourself in the process, right? If you've enjoyed today's exploration of Cancer season and Tammuz and the letter Het and Chiron's story, I've created something special to accompany this month. It's called the Zodiac seasons, and it's Cancer, the month of Cancer. Inside, you are going to find deeper teachings behind the season, reflection questions, journaling prompts, and an exclusive chapter from my forthcoming memoir, which is coming out in November. My memoir is called Rewilding. So download this guide. It is free, and I really, really wanted to do this for you because I am a Cancer sun. This is my season. And so I wanted to create something personal, something more than just a horoscope or a forecast. So you'll find the link below in the description box. So let's get into your horoscopes. I'm going to keep them brief. Before I dive into your sun and rising signs, I'm just going to point out the main events for this coming week, and that is that the sun is now in Cancer, sextile Chiron in Taurus here, and square Neptune in Aries. The other big thing that's happening, and it's growing in concentration at this time, is the Uranus, T-square to the nodal axis. So Uranus bending the nodes here. The nodes are these horseshoe-shaped points in the sky. And so I'm going to be speaking about these things in the short horoscopes. Okay, so let's start with Aries. Okay, so Aries, Cancer season, the month of Cancer, is going to shine a spotlight on your home, your family, possibly issues around your mother. I mean, it could even be your father. Some astrologers say the fourth house is the father, the mother's the 10th house. In my experience, it tends to be more the mother, but it could be father or mother coming up this month or in the spotlight. So issues around the home, you may be moving this month, you may be considering moving, you may be selling your property, or someone may be coming to live with you. If it is someone coming to live with you, it's possibly a sibling or a younger person. It could also be the opposite of that, that a sibling leaves. So if a young person leaves the home as well, something like that. It really depends on the planetary placements in your birth charts. Okay, so let's talk first about the nodal, Uranus in the T-square to the nodes. So the north node here at 1 degree Pisces and the south node at 1 degree Virgo. And this is a T-square. And really what this is saying is that you can expect changes, surprises, revelations, and in particular, it's something that from your past, so something to do with your work, with pets, with your jobs, not necessarily career, it's more your jobs, work that you've done in the past. Whatever you've done in the past is now helping you move forward into the future, right? Into this north node in Pisces. And if you are looking for work, I would recommend you look at things that you've done in the past and then see if that's still a fit for you. If it's still, if your soul still delights in maybe doing something like that again, and then start focusing on reigniting, reinventing yourself towards this new path, right? It definitely seems to be aligned with your path for the future. So if you are looking for work, the clues are in things that you've done in the past, if that makes sense, okay? And again, I mentioned pets. It may have something to do with animals. So Aries, Sun, Rising, and Moon. Now, let's touch on this week in particular. This week with the sextile to Chiron, Sun sextile Chiron, there is a, sextile is an opportunity to heal a wound around your value, okay, your sense of worth. There's a couple of things going on here, Aries. I cannot get into it all. I mean, I see issues around body image coming up here. But I also see issues around property, like, you know, and if it is property related, the home or the property, I can tell you that the solution lies in being more assertive and less wishy-washy, less you're not making a firm decision. Something is not, it's almost like you're distracted or you are purposefully distracting yourself, okay, from making this firm decision. I think I'll end it there, Aries. Like I say, I don't have access to your personal chart. So if this resonated, please leave a comment, Aries, Sun, and Rising. Uh, right, next, Taurus, Taurus, Sun, and Rising, and Moon. So Taurus, let's begin by looking at this Uranus T-square with the nodes. So Uranus is traveling through your second house of, income, sense of worth, uh, possessions, and also the body. I know that not many astrologers associate the second house with the body, but certainly it is where we come home to the body, the second house. And so what's happening here is that there's going to be some sort of revelation, a surprise, a change, and it has, especially in pointing towards your new life direction, and the clues lie in the past. So it's going to be quite revolutionary, quite sudden. You're going to find that something to do, fifth house matters are going to come up. So a lover could return, for example, a lover from your past. It could be a child from your past. Maybe you gave up a child for adoption or something like that. It could be your experience in a creative field. It could be what else could it be there? Hold on, let me look here quickly. Yeah, I can see something to do with children, siblings, possibly even neighbors, someone from your past helping you in this new path direction going forward, this new life path. And this new life path is going to, help you uh, connect with your tribe, meet the right people. And, I won't be surprised if whatever you suddenly do now is going to involve more work with, online work, social media, having a more, a greater online presence. Okay, next thing I want to touch on for this week in particular is the fact that Sun is sextile Chiron, and the Sun is in your third house. And it's going to be in the third house throughout Cancer season. So it's going to be a busy month for you, summertime, Cancer season. There's going to be a lot of uh, there's a lot of talking, a lot of mingling with people, possibly a lot of mingling with neighbors, definitely, but potential mingling with your siblings very high. But certainly a lot of neighbors, even younger people are coming, children, younger people, that's all coming up. And the wound, the opportunity, the sextile is an opportunity, right? So the sextile to Chiron, Sun sextile Chiron, is offering you an opportunity to heal your sense of self, your self-image around how you communicate. And the vision that comes to mind here, what I'm seeing here is your throat chakra being highlighted here. So the challenge really, the challenge that's coming up for you this week, Taurus, is speaking your truth on some matter, possibly regarding children, or younger people. It could even be speaking the truth regarding a neighbor's, a neighbor, or even a sibling, an aunt, an uncle, a cousin. But the challenge this week, Taurus, is being honest and speaking the truth. Okay, Taurus, do let me know if this resonated in the comments. Gemini, Sun, Rising, and Moon. So Gemini, let's begin by addressing the Uranus T-square with the nodes. Okay, so Uranus here cruising through your first house and the nodes. So the south node is in Virgo in your fourth house, pointing to your past. The north node is in your 10th house in Pisces. So some sort of revelation, something surprising comes up, you know, over the next few days. I mean, it's already within orb. So within the next 2 weeks, something surprising around the home, possibly inheritance, property that you've inherited, property concerning maybe your mother's side of the family, um, property, home. What else could be there? Even revelations around your mother. I mean, some astrologers say the fourth house is the father as well. But personally, I've noticed it's more the mother. But anyway, it could be the father for you. So some revelation or some surprise regarding that coming up, pointing towards a new path for you, a new direction. And this new direction is asking you to focus on the more spiritual side of things, the more creative side of things. And that will help you build a career, Gemini, or a sense of it will help you feel more purposeful. You're definitely feeling this pull. Let me know in the comments, Gemini, but you're definitely feeling this pull to be more spiritual, to turn more to spirit for guidance. You are focused more on like analyzing, remembering your dreams, analyzing your dreams, the spiritual world, psychic abilities, all these wonderful things. This is where you're feeling the pull. And the revelation really comes from your past experiences in the fourth house. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised for you if you find out, for example, that, your mother was clairvoyant or psychic, or not that it's really surprising. It's probably not a big surprise, but you find out that this is part of your lineage. It runs in your family or something like that. Anyway, Gemini, for this week in particular, I want to focus on the fact that the sun is sextile Chiron in the 12th house. And here is this potential to heal a wound around, it's the 12th house is very complex. Something is going to surface from, your subconscious or unconscious mind. Something may surface in your dreams. Something may, you may get a sign from spirit that you've been held, that you've been holding yourself back. You've been holding yourself back. And I'm really getting this strongly that you are, that you may feel threatened by other people, and you think that perhaps they don't want the best for you, or you don't feel like you're good enough in comparison to these people. There's something here about healing a wound regarding your sense of worth, whether you are deserving of more, and whether or not you can actually hold more, if you have this capacity for more. And it's something to do with your beliefs about people and whether or not they support you, whether they actually, if they're actually going to be there. You may have been let down, seriously betrayed in the past, right? The challenge here, and there's this possibility of this healing happening, right? So the challenge here is for you to act courageously among people. It's, you've been possibly thinking about joining a group or an association, or you're becoming, becoming more social lately. And the invitation is to do so. The invitation this week is to do so, is to mingle more, to get out there, to be courageous, to show up more. So, and I feel this is particularly true for Gemini rising. So anyway, do let me know in the comments if this resonated. Okay, Cancer. So Cancer, Sun, Rising, and Moon. This is our month for sure. I'm a Cancer Sun. Um, just the spotlight is on you, Cancer. You've got the attention. So you want to be, you want to show up in your glorious self, right? You want to be as authentic as possibly in revealing who you are and showing up online in particular, because Chiron is cruising through the 11th house. If you have an online presence, you just want to be authentic, you want to be real. Um, and there's this real possibility of wounding hills around things like that. Like, and I can speak here from experience. I really did not have a good relationship with social media, and I'm still not the world's biggest fan of social media, but certainly it has its place, its uses. You have to be on social media nowadays, so it's something like that, healing a wound around that. But also healing wounds around groups of people. And possibly the chance is very good, high really, that you may find your group, find your tribe, start connecting with the right people. The challenge, I mean, if you're feeling, oh, I don't feel particularly courageous, this is because of the square with Neptune in Aries. You may be purposefully distracting yourself. You may be, you know, even in your, you may not even be sure exactly of what steps to take, what to do next. I mean, and if that is the case, Cancer, highly recommend you book a reading, or seek help if you know that you have a problem, say with addiction, or um, you're very distracted, and you need, like maybe you realized you ADHD or something like it, you may need counseling, you may need medication. But that's what Neptune is saying here, that if you can sort this out, this, just distracted, too many things on your plate, then you will definitely shine this month for sure. Cancer, Sun, Rising, and Moon. And let me also touch on this nodal. So Uranus is T-square the nodes, in a T-square here to the nodes, North Node and South Node. Something to do with the past, your past experience and communication, how you express yourself is actually the clue to how to move forward. This new direction that you find in life has to do with how you market yourself, how you communicate yourself. And it's going to be quite surprising. There's some surprise regarding this, like you could find you suddenly maybe you've written a post and it goes viral or something like that. So yeah, Cancer, Sun and Rising and Moon. Let me know if this resonated with you. Leo. So Leo, Sun, Rising and Moon. Let's touch on the Uranus T-square, the nodes. So the North Node in Pisces, yeah, South Node in Virgo, and second house in your eighth house there. And Uranus is about to bring something, a change, a surprise, a revelation, even a revolution in your life direction. Okay, it's has something to do with your self-worth, your belief in how worthy you are, and then a change that is psychologically prompted. You've done the work, you are working on your shadow, right? You are working on all this unconscious and subconscious material. And this is further highlighted by the fact that the sun is moving through your 12th house of, subconscious and unconscious material, of things that are hidden. And this week in particular, with the sun in a sextile to Chiron, the sun in the 12th, sextile Chiron in the 10th, there's a couple of things going on here. And again, I don't have access to your personal chart, so I can't be too specific here. But what I'm seeing here is possibly a wound, the opportunity to heal a wound with a child or regarding a child. The challenge here is not to wear your blinkers. In other words, you have been purposefully ignoring certain facts about this child, even possibly facts around your father, something about your father or healing a father wound. And now the time has come to be courageous and to face the reality of the situation. There is the possibility of, either you are dealing with an addiction, or a problem with distraction. You're far too distracted, you're not able to concentrate, you're not focused, that kind of thing. Or it is someone very close to you, like I say, a father or a child who has a problem with addiction, or is distracted, etc. But what is required of you is truth, okay, to just face these realities. The other opportunity, and it's a kind of behind the scenes thing, in other words, it's work that you're going to have to do on your own, is healing a wound regarding a boss or a powerful figure, an authority figure at work. Okay, Leo, so let me know if this resonated with you. Next up, Virgo, Sun, Rising, and Moon. So, Virgo, let's begin with the Uranus T-square, the nodes. So, Uranus is in your 10th house, T-square, the south node in Virgo, of course, in your sign, and the north node in Pisces. And what's happening here is that you can expect a change, a surprise, a revelation, where you have to take account for something that you've done in the past or the way you've presented yourself in the past. And though it's just a change of your self-image, and this, whatever you do, whatever changes you do to your self-concept, is going to point you towards this new path that's going to lead to a partnership, a romantic partnership, perhaps a business partnership. And the way you do this, the way you're achieving this, is through mingling more with people, getting out there, being more visible. If if you have an online presence, I wouldn't be surprised if this is how you meet someone new. If you're looking for someone, a love relationship, the chances are very high you're going to meet them online. Um, and I'm not saying it's happening this week, but this is the future, right? But in the meantime, you have to heal this wound around people, possibly an opportunity to heal a wound around people from a different culture or a different faith. How the universe is going to present this to you, I don't know. You may have judgments around a particular type, person, person of a certain faith. I don't know. Okay, but anyway, there's this possibility to heal a wound around that. It could also be even healing a wound around gurus. Maybe you had a terrible encounter with a guru, a teacher of some sort. Okay, now what is required of you, Virgo? What is required, and this is pointed by this Sun square Neptune, is courageous action in facing this shadow, facing this reality that you're holding some sort of prejudice, or some unresolved issue around different people with a different viewpoint, philosophy, that kind of thing. All right, Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Rising, let me know if this is resonating with you. Libra. Let's start with the Uranus T-square, the nodes, the north node in Pisces, south node in Virgo. And what this is talking about or telling us is that there is some sort of surprise revelation around what you've done in the past. Some conscious and unconscious things are going to come up for you, regarding, your ability to analyze, communicate, your ability to be practical, but also health. There's something to do here with health. Something is revealed around your health, and it's going to point towards a better path for you. And it definitely has to do with exercise. So, you know, I don't think you're going to have any sort of health crisis this week, although, with Uranus, all kinds of things are possible, but I'm not feeling that. I'm feeling that you are going to wake up to the fact that you have to do something about your health, okay? And it's going to be about having to do something, movement, exercise, walking, whatever it is, but also becoming more spiritual. There's a lot of it's pointing at to trusting spirit more, or adding spirituality to your life. You probably are not you're like imbalanced. There's not a balance in your life. You're lacking a spiritual side to, or a spiritual element. You haven't perhaps been praying, you haven't been spending enough time in nature, you haven't been in relationship with the land, and now you want to do this in relationship with the sky, the earth. Um, it's a very mystical pool, and I don't know if you feel it yet, Libra, but certainly something is going to happen that is going to have you, trusting more in spirit. Okay, so the thing this week that is really coming up is the sun sextile Taurus, and he has an opportunity to heal wounds around money, around debt, around inheritances. It's even grief. It's an opportunity to heal a loss, right? Grief, by the way, lasts forever. It does. You never stop grieving. To live is to grieve. But there is an opportunity to heal a broken heart here. The challenge, of course, lies in, yeah, wow, this is quite interesting. It could even be that this grief is connected with the loss or the failure of a romantic relationship or a business partnership. Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Libra, let me know if this is resonating with you. Okay. Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising. So let's begin with the Uranus T-square, the nodes. Uranus is in your eighth house of, shadow material, yeah, but intimacy, sex, death, inheritance, tax. Expect a surprise, a revelation, um, around those themes, but it's somehow connected to your past actions or past deeds here with the 11th house, with your dealings with other people. And it's pointing to a new direction that is more creative, more playful, or yeah, a new love affair. Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising. So if you are looking for a new lover, a new love relationship, this is possibly what's going to come up for you over the next 2, 3 weeks. A new love relationship. So, yeah, let me know if that's already happening, because this is already in play, this T square. Okay, so this week, Scorpio, you've got an opportunity to heal a wound around relationships. Okay, because the sun is cruising through your ninth house during Cancer season. So, what's highlighted this season is, of course, your beliefs, your philosophy, your education, so higher education, publishing deals, that kind of thing. And he has an opportunity to heal a wound around a relationship, maybe a failed relationship, of course, a failed business relationship, failed romantic relationship. And the challenge here really is this square to Neptune that says that you have been possibly, you may be blindsided. You may have been blindsided by someone, they lied to you, they deceived you in the past, and or maybe even this may even be occurring right now, Scorpio. But I kind of feel that the challenge here is to be brave and to be brave in working towards healing your relationship. So if there's an opportunity to forgive your ex partner, lover, this is what you need to do. All right, Scorpio. Okay. Okay, moving on to Sagittarius sun, rising, and moon. I had to get some coffee. Okay, Sagittarius. So let's begin by looking at the Uranus T-square, the nodes. So Uranus is cruising through your seventh house. This is the house of marriage, romantic partnerships, business partnerships, and Uranus is squaring the north node in Pisces and the south node in Virgo. And what we have here is a surprise, a change, a sudden revelation regarding your marriage, but it's stemming from something you've done in the past regarding your profession, your career. And there's a new direction moving, oh, okay. So, you know, hopefully not Sagittarius. I don't know what's going on in your life. I don't have access to your chart, but it could be that your marriage is, struggling, and you're ready to move on. It could even be a business partnership that has not worked out, or you're going to realize it's not working out. But anyway, it's going to be a surprising 2 weeks. Okay. This is already in play. This aspect, or this T-square, is already in play. Okay, the other thing I want to focus on, Sagittarius, is that there's this opportunity this week to heal a wound around your job, okay, but also wounds around your health, well-being, um, your physicality, right? How you do things, wounds around labor. You may have experienced trouble with a colleague, and there's an opportunity here to heal this. What is required of you with the Sun square Neptune is to believe more in your creative abilities and your ability to be more creative, to find a way through this problem. So if you are actually employed at the moment and you're not getting on with a particular colleague, and it is a colleague, it's not really someone who is an authority, although you can leave a comment if this is ringing true and it is a difficult boss that you're dealing with. What I'm seeing here is a colleague, but again, I don't have access to your personal chart. Um, if you're having difficulty with a colleague, the message here from the cosmos is that you do have a way through this. You just have to be creative. You have to be courageous about this and come up with a creative solution to this problem. In other words, it could be that you could move to a different department, a transfer. It could be that the solution is in your creative ability. So if you approach your boss and, propose something that you can do, like a new position for you or something like that, where you are able to be more creative, that may be the solution. Okay. But yeah, Sagittarius, let me know. This month is not going to be very easy. Again, I don't know what your planetary placements are. There's a spotlight on, your issues around money, sex, intimacy, even death. But yeah, I can see your partnerships, your romantic and business partnerships are highlighted, and they may not be necessarily happy making this month. But anyway, Sagittarius, let's I don't know, maybe it's going to work out better for you because of your planetary placements. But let me know if you have been struggling with these things. Okay. Next up, Capricorn, Sun, Rising, and Moon. So Capricorn, let's begin with the Uranus T-square to the nodes. So Uranus is in your sixth house of Gemini, and your south node is in Virgo, and in the ninth house, and then the north node in the third house. And now this is pointing to a revelation, a surprise around So something from your past, your beliefs, your philosophies, maybe professors, education, higher education, universities, degrees, even a publishing deal. Um, Something that you submitted or did in your past is now pointing you towards a future. Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising. If you write, if you're a writer, this is a surprise around a book, or perhaps you're going to get a publishing deal. Uranus works in two ways: happy making surprises and not so great surprises, right? So let me know in the comments if you get a book deal this month, um, or within the next 2 weeks. Um, or it could be that you get your diploma, your degree, whatever it is, but a happy making or some sort of surprise around that. There could also be a revelation around partnerships, like a communication from someone, an international person, someone from another culture or someone overseas, and it's going to help point you in this new direction for your life. That's also a possibility. Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Okay, let me have more coffee. Hold on. Okay, now this week, let's focus on this week. You've got the Sun, sextile Chiron. And so there's this opportunity to heal a wound around your creativity, your sense of, you know, a wound around like your, are you creative? Can you express yourself? Well, the answer is yes, Capricorn. I mean, this is what this whole Uranus T-square nodal axis thing is happening at the same time. Um, can you practice your creativity? Can you earn money from your creativity? And the answer is yes. Yes, 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 you can. Oh, I love this for you. So, yeah. The challenge, of course, is to be brave and to deal with your distractions, of which there are many in the home. So Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising, let me know if this resonated. Okay, Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. I am one of you. I'm an Aquarius Rising and a Cancer Sun. So what do we have going on here? Let's address this Uranus T-square with the nodes. It's in play right now, and you can expect we can all expect Aquarius Sun rising and Moon. Some sort of revelation surprise around our income, our ability to earn our income. I mean, this is coming from our past experiences with other people's money. Perhaps we were too dependent on other people, and now we find out that, we can earn our own money. Maybe you're finding yourself suddenly realizing this. I don't know. But it's a good month. You're busy. You're being noticed at work. You're able to communicate your needs. Your needs are being addressed. This is just a wonderful time. The challenge here is presented, and of course, this week there's this opportunity to heal a wound because of the sextile with Chiron here. To heal the wound around home and place and family, heal a wound with your mother if you have issues with your mother. I mean, I know some astrologers say the fourth house is the father. So if you lean more towards that, then maybe healing a wound with your father. Healing of the mother wound, and visit my website, by the way, Aquarius Sun Rising, for uh, a wonderful audio that I recorded for you if you are interested in quickly healing the mother wound. So visit my website for that, and also visit the description box that I'll share more about that. But anyway, the challenge here with this Sun square Neptune is being able to communicate properly. Being able to communicate properly. You are far too distracted. You're possibly not focused as much as you should be. You need to focus. You need to get your ducks in a row. Okay, Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Let me know if this resonated with you. And Pisces. Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising. So Pisces, let's begin by addressing the Uranus T-square to the nodes. So Uranus is in your fourth house of Gemini, and T-square, the north node in your in your sign, in your first house. And so, the South Node is opposite in Virgo. So what's happening this coming week or 2 weeks is that Uranus is going to bring some sort of revelation or surprise, a sudden change even in how you perceive yourself, your self-image. My sense is that you are now determined to probably start a new health regimen, exercise, change your eating plan. That is my sense here. Because the South Node is pointing to things that you did in the past, and this is Virgo. In other words, you do know how to eat well, healthy, nutritious food. You do know how to look after your body. You know how to, you know, practical. You know how to be practical, how to be wise with your decisions. You're good. You know this, okay? But for some, maybe that has stopped. Maybe you. Whatever it is, you're now ready, Pisces, to refocus on how you are appearing, how you're showing up in the world. There are, with this, it's, how can I put this? It's learning to come back to your body. Maybe you've been feeling disembodied. Maybe you haven't been showing yourself much self-care. Okay. Now, this week in particular, I want you to focus on this opportunity presented by the sextile with Chiron. So Sun sextile Chiron, Sun is in your fifth house, Chiron is in your third house. This opportunity to heal a wound around how you communicate, how you share, how you communicate your needs, how you express yourself. And it has to do with your art, your creativity. Mm. Yeah, it has to do with your art, your creativity. How can I put this? There's more here to this whole thing. But yeah, I don't have access to your planets, your own birth chart and your planetary placements, but something to do with your throat chakra and not expressing yourself or being truthful and honest, because that is the challenge here. The challenge is presented here by the square to Neptune, where you have not been honest about. It's not really honest. You're deceiving yourself. You've been denying certain things. It is body related. It's something to do with your physical appearance, with how you own or you embody yourself, how you inhabit your body. Remember that your body is a temple. Yes, it's a temporary temple, but you're here to live to live your spiritual life through your body. Does that make sense? Okay. And you want to present yourself in a beautiful way. You don't have to succumb or follow these cultural or society's expectations of being thin and, perfect, or whatever the ideal version is of this. I'm just saying it's about being healthy, about feeling good, about feeling like you are inhabiting your body with self-love, with yeah. Okay, Pisces, let me know if this is resonating. I kind of rambled here, but this was really coming through quite strongly. Okay, so Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising, do let me know if that resonated. Before I close, I want to extend a heartfelt welcome to everyone who has recently subscribed. This channel has grown quite a bit over the last week, over 1,000 subscribers. And while the numbers are lovely, what means the most to me is knowing that these conversations are finding the people who need them. If you're new here, welcome. Make yourself at home. We spend a lot of time exploring the places where astrology meets real life. Our relationships, we look at our fears, our longings, our purpose, and the thresholds that we find ourselves, crossing. So thank you for being here. I don't take your time or attention for granted. Truly, I appreciate you and I wish you a meaningful week ahead, and I'll see you in the next video.